Dolly Parton, the documentary. What does it take to become one of the most respected business minds and beloved cultural icons on the planet when the entire world starts by writing you off as a joke? In the 20th century, the music industry was an absolute battlefield for women. It was run by male executives who believed that female artists had a short shelf life, that they could not write their own hits, and that they certainly could not manage their own businesses. Female singers were expected to look pretty, sing the songs handed to them by male writers, and let corporate managers pocket the vast majority of the profits. But behind the high-pitched laugh, the rhinestones, and the extreme physical caricature lay one of the most brilliant, calculating, and uncompromising business minds in the history of entertainment. Her name is Dolly Parton. By the year 2026, Dolly has become far more than a legendary country music singer. She is a global powerhouse, a multi-millionaire business mogul, an international philanthropist, and an undisputed cultural treasure. She built an empire that includes hit records, Hollywood blockbusters, massive theme parks, and a publishing catalog worth hundreds of millions of dollars, completely on her own terms. She did it all without ever changing who she was, turning a caricature of a dumb blonde into the ultimate shield for a ruthless, brilliant business strategy. To her hundreds of millions of fans, she is a warm, angelic figure of joy, a woman who brings people together across deep political and cultural divides. To business analysts, she is a masterclass in intellectual property ownership, a woman who understood the true value of copyright and publishing decades before the rest of Hollywood caught up. But to truly understand her historic rise, we have to look past the sparkling rhinestones, the legendary amusement parks, and the gold records. We have to travel back to a tiny, one-room wooden cabin in the great Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee, where a little girl slept on a straw mattress with 11 siblings, dreaming of a world she would eventually conquer. This is the definitive story of the rise, the brilliance, and the empire of Dolly Parton. Every legend has a beginning, and Dolly Rebecca Parton was born on January 19, 1946, in a rustic, one-room cabin along the Little Pigeon River in Locust Ridge, Tennessee. She was the fourth of 12 children born to Lee and Avi Lee Parton. Her father, Lee, was a hard-working but illiterate sharecropper and construction worker, while her mother, Avi Lee, managed the chaotic, impoverished household. The family lived in absolute, crushing poverty. The cabin had no electricity, no running water, and no indoor plumbing. During the brutal winter months, the children huddled together in a single bed to keep from freezing to death, sleeping on mattresses stuffed with corn husks and straw. The poverty was so severe that when Dolly was born, her father could not afford to pay the missionary doctor who delivered her. Instead, he paid the doctor with a sack of cornmeal. But despite the material scarcity, the cabin was rich in music. Her mother sang old Appalachian folk ballads, and her grandfather was a Pentecostal preacher. Dolly learned to sing in church before she could even read. At just 7 years old, she began playing a homemade guitar constructed from a guitar string and a banjo head. By 8, her uncle bought her her first real guitar. Dolly became a local prodigy. She began performing on local radio and television shows in Knoxville by the age of 10, and by 13, she recorded her first single, Puppy Love, on a small gold band record label and performed at the historic Grand Ole Opry. During these early years, Dolly looked around her impoverished mountain community and noticed a local woman who had bleached blonde hair, bright red lipstick, high heels, and tight clothes. While the local churchgoers whispered and condemned the woman as trash, young Dolly was absolutely captivated. She thought she was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. Dolly decided right then that she would model her look after her, declaring that she wanted to be pretty, flashy, and colorful. But beneath the makeup and the big hair, Dolly possessed a deep, analytical intellect. She realized that country music was a business. She watched her father work himself to the bone for little pay because he lacked an education, and she vowed that she would never let anyone exploit her labor. The day after she graduated from Sevier County High School in 1964, she packed her guitar and caught a Greyhound bus straight to Nashville. She was 18 years old, and she was on a mission. Nashville in 1964 was a tough, insular town, but Dolly's relentless work ethic immediately set her apart. She spent her first days eating leftover mustard and ketchup packages from a local cafe, because she couldn't afford food. But she wrote songs constantly. Within a few years, her songwriting caught the attention of Monument Records, and she began writing hit songs for other artists alongside her songwriting partner and uncle, Bill Owens. In 1967, her big break arrived. The legendary country music star Porter Wagoner was looking for a new female singer for his highly popular, nationally syndicated television program, The Porter Wagoner Show. Wagoner was a towering, charismatic figure who wore flashy nudie suits and ruled his show with an iron fist. He hired Dolly to replace his previous singer, and the chemistry was instantaneous. Their duets became massive national hits, and Dolly's solo career began to skyrocket. But Porter Wagoner was used to being the undisputed boss. As Dolly's fame grew, she began to eclipse Wagoner in popularity. She wanted to sing her own songs, but Wagoner wanted her to sing the songs he chose. The professional relationship became a highly volatile battle of wills. For 7 years, Dolly stayed on the show, but she felt suffocated. She knew she had to leave to fulfill her destiny as a solo superstar. But Wagoner held her under a tight, restrictive contract and controlled her music publishing. In 1974, Dolly knew she had to break free. But instead of hiring a team of aggressive lawyers or starting a public media war, she did what she does best. She wrote a song. She sat down and wrote a simple, deeply emotional ballad explaining to Wagoner that while she loved him and appreciated everything he had done, she had to go. The song was titled, "I Will Always Love You." The next morning, she walked into Wagoner's office and sang the song to him, acoustic, with just her guitar. Wagoner was so moved that he began to cry. He told her that it was the prettiest song he had ever heard, and he agreed to let her leave the show on the condition that he could produce the record. Dolly's emotional intelligence had triumphed over corporate contract disputes, but the battle for her independence was far from over. With her solo career flying high, "I Will Always Love You" became a #1 country hit in 1974. The song's beautiful melody and profound lyrics caught the attention of the king of rock and roll himself, Elvis Presley. Elvis wanted to record a cover of "I Will Always Love You." For a young country songwriter in the 1970s, having Elvis Presley record your song was the ultimate dream. It was a guaranteed ticket to tens of millions of dollars in royalties, massive prestige, and global fame. Dolly was ecstatic. But the day before the recording session, Elvis's notorious manager, Colonel Tom Parker, called Dolly. Parker spoke with a cold, business-like tone. He told Dolly that it was a strict, non-negotiable policy that Elvis would not record any song unless he was given 50% of the publishing rights. Publishing rights are the legal ownership of the song itself. If a songwriter gives away 50% of their publishing, they are giving away half of all future royalties, movie placements, covers, and licensing rights forever. Dolly was devastated. She spent the entire night crying, pacing the floor of her home. Every advisor in her circle told her she was crazy, that she had to say yes to the king of rock and roll. But Dolly's sharp business instincts took over. She thought about her future, and she thought about the songs she had written with her own sweat, tears, and mountain memories. She realized that her songs were her legacy, her children, and she refused to let anyone buy them out. The next morning, she called Colonel Tom Parker and said, "I cannot give you half of my publishing. I am sorry, but I have to keep my songs." The deal was dead. Elvis never recorded the song. It was a staggering, high-risk decision that shocked the Nashville music community. People thought she had destroyed her career out of sheer stubbornness. But decades later, in 1992, a pop star named Whitney Houston recorded a cover of "I Will Always Love You" for the soundtrack of the film, The Bodyguard. The version exploded, becoming one of the best-selling singles of all time, staying at #1 for 14 weeks. Because Dolly had refused to sell her publishing rights to Elvis Presley, she retained 100% ownership. She made over $10 million in royalties from Whitney Houston's version in the 1990s alone, and she continues to collect millions of dollars in passive income from that single song every single year. Dolly's business genius had paid off. She had proved that owning your intellectual property is the ultimate path to financial freedom. As the late 1970s approached, Dolly realized that the country music market was too small for her ambitions. She wanted to cross over into the mainstream pop market and conquer Hollywood. She hired a Hollywood management team, changed her sound to incorporate pop production elements, and in 1980, She made her feature film debut in the workplace comedy 9 to 5 alongside Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin. The film was a massive, global blockbuster. Dolly not only starred in the film, but she also wrote and recorded the title track, 9 to 5. The song, with its iconic typewriter rhythm, became an anthem for working-class women across the globe, reaching #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and earning her an Academy Award nomination. Dolly had successfully transitioned from a country singer into a global pop culture icon. But she was not content with just collecting royalty checks. She wanted to build a physical, tangible empire in her home state of Tennessee. In 1986, Dolly made a bold, unconventional business move. She partnered with the Hershin Family Entertainment Corporation to open a massive 150-acre theme park in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. She renamed the park Dollywood. The media was highly skeptical. Many commentators laughed at the idea, predicting that a country-themed amusement park in the mountains would be a massive financial disaster. But Dolly understood her audience. She wanted to bring jobs, tourism, and economic prosperity to the impoverished Appalachian community where she grew up. Today, Dollywood is the most popular ticketed tourist attraction in the state of Tennessee, hosting over 3 million visitors a year, employing thousands of local residents, and generating hundreds of millions of dollars in annual revenue. It serves as the anchor for a massive resort and entertainment complex that made Dolly one of the largest employers in East Tennessee. She had built a sustainable, highly profitable business empire by investing in her own people. As her wealth climbed into the hundreds of millions of dollars, Dolly's approach to philanthropy remained just as strategic and innovative as her business ventures. In 1995, she launched the Imagination Library, a program designed to foster a love of reading in young children. Under the program, any child enrolled receives a free, high-quality, age-appropriate book mailed directly to their home every single month from birth until they enter kindergarten, completely free of charge. What began as a small, local initiative in her home county in Tennessee rapidly expanded into a global phenomenon. By 2026, the Imagination Library has gifted over 250 million books to children across the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, and Australia. During the global pandemic of 2020, Dolly proved her incredible scientific philanthropy. She made a quiet, $1 million donation to the Vanderbilt University Medical Center, which played a critical, direct role in funding the early research and development of the highly successful Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. She did not seek publicity or praise. She simply saw a massive crisis and used her capital to fund a solution. Dolly's wealth is not a tool for personal vanity. She does not live in a massive, sprawling mega mansion. She does not own private yachts, and she does not flaunt her wealth in ostentatious ways. Instead, she remains deeply grounded, living in the same home she bought with her husband, Carl Dean, decades ago, and continuously routing her wealth back into charitable foundations, disaster relief, and educational scholarships. By the year 2026, Dolly Parton stands as a towering, singular monument in American cultural history. She has built a business and entertainment empire valued at over $600 million, comprising a music catalog of over 3,000 self-written songs, amusement parks, film production companies, and global consumer brands. She successfully navigated the transition from physical records to digital streaming, maintained complete ownership of her image and her music, and stayed completely independent of corporate music conglomerates. Her journey from a cold, one-room mountain cabin, where her father paid the doctor with a sack of cornmeal, to a global business mogul, is an inspirational testament to the power of authentic self-creation, relentless hustle, and unwavering self-belief. She proved that you can wear the high heels, the makeup, and the big hair, and still be the smartest person in any boardroom. She used her signature caricature to disarm her competitors, while her razor-sharp mind quietly negotiated the deals that would secure her financial freedom forever. Her legacy remains a shining, beautiful answer to the age-old question of how to survive in a corporate world. You do not survive by changing who you are. You survive by owning your story, owning your songs, and owning your future. What do you think? Is Dolly Parton the ultimate business genius of the music industry, or is her lasting legacy her unparalleled ability to unite people through the power of her songs? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for listening to this documentary. If you enjoyed this content, please press the subscribe button.